Hey guys, believe it or not, I actually recorded this video about 3 months ago. Since then, Street Fighter 6 has been announced and the definitive update for Street Fighter 5 has also come out. So keep in mind that I actually didn't know about these things at the time during the video. I made the mistake of not planning the video out before I recorded it, and I stalled myself endlessly to edit this mess. But if you're hearing this, I guess that means I finally did it. Hey everyone, I'm Cyanide, your 4-star guy, or well, kind of your 4-star guy. Today I'm going to be trying something out where I play a game for 2 weeks and see how good I can get at it in those 2 weeks. So the rules are simple. I try to get better at a game for 2 weeks in any way I want to. And it's not gonna exactly be 2 weeks because it's gonna be more like 14 days. So if I'm busy on one day, well, I'll just cut that day out and then I'll give myself another day. So it's not gonna be exactly 2 weeks. I forgot to mention that to show my progress, I have to play a few matches in the very beginning, at the end of the first week, and also at the end of the second week. All of these matches are going to be played on the competitive game mode on whatever game I'm playing. But anyway, why did I choose to make videos like this? One of the things I love most about video games is trying to get better at them, but honestly throughout my life I didn't really feel like I got good at any of the games, especially because there are like so many I appreciate that I had a hard time like devoting myself to like one. But I feel like this video format was perfect because I feel like I could focus on the grind for a while, but also after that I can play the next game I was interested in. Now, fighting games are something that interested me for a while, but I never actually really got into them. They just seemed a little too hard, and it's a genre so different from any other that it would have been hard to like learn the controls. Street Fighter 5 seemed perfect because I feel like it would teach me a lot of fundamentals about fighting games, and also it's old enough but just relevant enough to make me think that it's a safe place to start for a series like this. So as I said before, I never really got into a fighting game before. Street Fighter is the first one I'm trying out. I actually tried playing this game a little bit before. I played like about 5 matches and I tried doing quite a bit of Chun-Li's combo trials, but that was kind of a long time ago, so I kind of forgot a lot and I've like barely played anyway. So it's like a pretty fresh start. I don't know if I'll remember anything from the combo trials once I actually get into a game though. Well, I guess all that there is to do now is just to fire up a competitive match to see where I stand right now. Oh my god, I found a match. It's been like 8 minutes. Oh, now I'm nervous.
Fight!
Oh god. Oh, I didn't combo! I'm dead! Oh, I'm... Oh. How do I tag? Oh.
You lose.
I do lose. Oh my god. I was flubbing the controls so much. Well, if matchmaking takes that long, I should rematch. Play again. Let's go. You can grind rank points off of me. Feel free.
Fight!
Oh my god, I'm getting crossed up. Oh. Why am I doing that move? Oh, I'm punishing when I don't have it. I'm not techie! Oh, I didn't block right! Oh, no! Oh! Yikes, man! Oh! I'm gonna get stunned! I think I'm dead! I'm not using my meter at all. I would be so better off if I knew. Oh. Oh, I thought I'm dead. Oh. Oh. I thought I died. Oh, oh no, no! I got the crush counter. I was pretty close.
You lose.
Oh wait, what did I press? I thought it was to play again. Oh. All right, time for another match or another person. Oh, I need some more. I can't drink, I'm shaking too much. I almost drowned myself. Oh, we got another match. Oh, okay. Let's see if I can handle it.
Fight.
Oh, I can't do that. Oh, I'm doing it. Oh my god! I'm like doing good! Oh, kind of. Well, kind of doing good. I'm just fighting against someone who doesn't know how to block. Oh, shoot. Oh, that was a mistake, but I know what move that was. I won! I still didn't use any of my EX or critical arts bar though. Or V-trigger, or grabs. I didn't use any of that. I barely even used punch buttons, it was all kicks. I think I'm starting to see weaknesses in myself. Even though that game rewarded me with the win, he gave me the win. How do I tech? He's letting me do my favorite combo. He just let me do like that simple thing like 5 times. Oh. Yes! I did it! But it's not gonna kill him. But I did it. Alright, I held back that long and then Kikoken, yeah! I stood up. How did I do that? I was just mashing. Fuck! Yes! Alright, this is the cross up. It's coming. Oh no, I didn't go behind him. Oh my god, he can do that? Alright. I won one! I won the last one too. I forgot. It felt like the first time. Alright. I had 4 ranked matches against 2 people. That was exciting. But I know I have a ton to work on. For the first couple of days of this week, I was trying to get better at the neutral, or the time in a match where both players are on equal footing on the stage, looking for an opening using their attacks while also trying to defend against the opponent's attacks. As a start, I would have to figure out what moves I should use at different distances. In general, the further that a move reaches, the slower it is, meaning that I could get countered easily if I used long range moves when the opponent is close, and that I should also get used to using moves that are quick so I can still fight when they are actually close. I tried to narrow down what moves I should get used to so I could learn them better, and I came up with a set of moves that has pretty much worked out for me in most situations. I took some time to practice and learn exactly when and how often I should use these moves. Watching pro player matches using my character has really helped me understand these kinds of things. After that, I started looking into combos to up my overall damage, as well as block strings, which are sequences of moves that I could use to keep up pressure on a defending opponent, while staying safe, because the sequence is too quick for them to let their guard down. I really only noticed a few combos and a couple of block strings that the pros I was watching were using, and I began to look into them. I spent a couple of days just practicing combos and finding out when I can find opportunities to use each. Most days I was practicing by staying in training mode to practice or learn certain combos, or I would just try to get used to certain moves. And I would have my matchmaking active in the background whenever I felt ready to apply whatever I learned. Because I live in such a remote area, matchmaking took very long, especially when I set the matchmaking to require a good connection. So I resorted to playing against bots most of the time. In a way, I felt like this was better to build my fundamentals, because I was able to abuse weaknesses of most of the players that I came across, while bots were generally solid and challenging all around for a beginner like me. Towards the end, I started using the highest level difficulty Ryu bot in the training mode, just endlessly fighting me. And this was probably the best practice I got, since this thing is a savage, kickin', punchin' fireball machine. It really forced me to find any openings I could and defend well, while approaching steadily. It would also hit me out of the air almost every time I jumped, unless I timed it really well, so I couldn't just leap over his projectiles every time. And with that, the first week of playing was just about to wrap up, and it is time to show my progress in a couple competitive matches. I decided to only play against a couple of people because I already thought the video was going to get really long if I played any more than that. In general, I have improved a lot, to the point where it actually surprised me, especially considering my lack of experience in fighting games, and the fact that I usually didn't spend all day playing. I would only play for about 4 or 5 hours before I got tired. I was able to space my attacks fairly properly and use them at pretty good times in my opinion. My damage output and pressure was also much better with the use of combos and block strings that I learned earlier. I did still flub a lot, but not nearly as much as before. Just like before though, I think my biggest strength was still my blocking, and with the use of poke moves getting better, a lot of people had a hard time finding an opening on me, while I often got to punish their mistakes. I think that one of my bigger weaknesses, along with flubbing my controls, is that I was very bad at reacting to people jumping towards me. I would be able to block the attack they were landing with, but jumping attacks are very strong, so if they hit you while they're blocking, they would be able to throw out their next move when they land before you finish keeping your guard up. Jumping is also an easy way to close distance, and the jumping moves are also typically great for starting big damaging combos, so I would want to use an anti-air attack, which hits the opponents before their jumping attack will reach me. If I just block, there's very little downside for the opponent to just keep jumping towards me, but using anti-air attacks will counter their jump approaches, and discourage them from doing it in the future too if they find out that I know how to deal with it. I am still also very bad at teching throws, so people can take advantage of this when I'm just blocking. I also have a bad habit of finishing combos on people who are blocking, and this isn't good because the last move is typically slow, and if I'm just doing it on someone who's blocking my whole combo, they can just punish me right after. For these competitive matches, the first person I played had a very difficult time with my defense, while I was able to attack him at many points myself. He left after the first match. The second person I challenged was much more difficult. He was a lot more patient, and this made things harder because I was able to take advantage of my first opponent's sloppy offense. But since this person was much more calculated with his play, I didn't have many openings. We kind of had similar strengths, and we were both using a game plan of poking and blocking, but I do think I had the edge because I was able to capitalize on his openings better while I didn't leave as many openings myself. I won the first match this way, but lost the second. I would say this mostly had to do with my sloppy controls, and a little bit of bad habits I mentioned earlier. I was super close though. We were both down to our last hit at the final round, and I died to a fireball. And to think that I spent all that time with that Gatling gun Ryu. I did a little bit better the next game and won convincingly, but I think the opponent just got sloppier too. For the second week, I put more focus on trying to learn the strategy of the game. This meant learning how to use my moves to keep my spacing, how to capitalize on punishes and when to, as well as matchup knowledge in general. I had a feeling that I wouldn't have been able to learn the matchups of every character in the game because that would mean I would have to understand each character to the point where I could have an understanding of all the moves they would want to use and how they want to approach or keep their distance. I felt like that was too much to learn in 1 week, especially since I still had a lot of room for improvement on my fundamentals. So instead, I tried to learn how to counter different strategies, such as people who want to rush you, use a lot of specials, have a good mid-range, people who want to use a mix-ups or grabs to hit you, or want to keep you at a long range, or characters who have solid close range normal attacks while having a good projectile, and stuff like that. I watched more pro matches this week, but with more intention to figure out what the decision-making process is considering the matchups that were happening, unlike last week, where I was mainly focusing on what moves and combos I should be using on my character. This week, I also played a lot more matches online, both casual and ranked, since training bots were good to work on my controls and build my fundamentals, but they didn't have game plans like real players had. Near the end of the week, I started playing in custom lobbies too, when I wanted to keep rematching people instead of always matchmaking. Especially when there was a player who was better than me and punished me for my mistakes or my weak gameplay. When I was playing, I was usually able to find out what the opponent was trying to go for with their character, and I would approach the match differently, whether it be stuff like spacing them out with my attacks, constantly approaching, or playing passively to wait for an opening and respecting safe moves when they throw it out. This form of adaptation worked out pretty well in general, but I did have to look into specific matchups when a character had particularly problematic moves, such as specials with a lot of movement or command grabs. At a certain point, I just realized that I just had to stop getting hit. A really simple idea, easier said than done, but it did take me pretty far. I worked on anti-airing people, blocking overhead attacks, as well as getting better at taking throws by predicting when they would want to. Anytime I got hit by something, I would try to think how could I prevent myself from getting hit by that in the future, and just constantly plugging holes in my defense until it became pretty solid. Many players who relied on spamming certain moves or had a very straightforward approach started to have a harder time damaging me towards the end of the week, which was pretty neat. Of course, strategy was not the only thing I learned this week. I started getting really comfortable with the buttons and controls of the game, and I realized that there was an element of timing when doing combos that I haven't really looked into before. I learned slightly longer and more damaging combos with my timing being more consistent now. These high damaging combos were really helpful for my playstyle, which was usually patient and involved a lot of chip damage. I would just deal some damage while hopefully not getting opened up myself, then I would do these combos to get rid of a good chunk of the opponent's health bar, then finish them off if they were still alive. With the second week finished, it is just about time to see how good I got. By this point, I just barely made it into silver, which put me in about the top 40% of ranked players, and I wanted to see how much I would climb this day. I was really hoping to reach gold, which would put me in about the top 20%, but that might have been a little wishful thinking. I lost both matches against the first person I played, who was using Balrog, and I went back to high bronze to start out the day. There was another Chun-Li that I kept on getting matchmade with whenever I played, who played a bit wilder than I did, but found openings I usually wouldn't, and there were days where he would get the best of me, and there were days where I beat him most of the time. It was always stressful, because I can't really lean into a strategy and play a matchup because he has the same moves that I do, and we want to use them at the same distances. The decision making always felt like a toss-up. I would still always rematch him when I could, but it was always tough, even when I was winning. Anyway, it looked like for now, he got the better of me. I won the first game, but he won the two after that. I fought another Balrog, and I managed to win 2 games when he got 1. After that, you guys might not believe what happened. Hi guys. I took a break today. So I'm actually doing a lot better than I thought I would. I won 12 straight ranked games in a row, and I took a break because the keeping up the win streak was getting kind of stressful for me. But on my break, I played like 3 people in casual matches, and I won every game. So now I'm at it. So like I won 6 more matches, and I'm at an 18 game win streak. I did not expect to do this well today, but it's gonna end eventually. But so yeah, I won 12 ranked matches in a row and 6 casual matches when I was just trying to take a breather afterward. Most of the wins were not as convincing as you might think. There were many matches that were decided by the final rounds and the last few hits. There were only a couple of people during this streak that I felt really comfortable beating, but most of the time I just had to hold my nerve and try to clutch up. I was really surprised I managed to keep it up, and the casual matches were still tough, and if I remember correctly, a couple of the people were above my rank too. I didn't record it since I was mostly just trying to warm up after that break, and I was actually seeing how I would handle losing, but since I won them, I actually felt more pressured in a way. Anyway, it didn't actually end there. I won my next 3 matches after that, but as you can guess, since I only said I won 3 more, I lost the one after that. But yeah, I was not expecting to have a 21 game win streak after just 2 weeks. Of course though, one loss doesn't mean to stop, so I kept playing after that. I played quite a bit more, but it was a lot of back and forth trading matches. I wasn't really proud of the people I lost to though. My first loss was against a Cammy player who used her Cannon Strike move a lot. It's a move where she leaps towards you and she can end it in a few different ways, like an overhead dive kick, a grab, or a low attack. I think he was also using a V skill as well, which I think can pass through attacks at a certain point, closes distance, and can cross me up. It was really annoying how often he was using these moves, since it was pretty hard to defend against, since each variation of them required a different reaction. And I think the dive kick was safe on block anyway. He was also using all of her other special moves too, just to rush me down, but it was also hard to get in because he would use his normal attacks and grabs to box me out. It was tough, and I didn't figure out how to beat it, but I was bummed my win streak was finished by such a spammer. It wasn't just Cammy though. Throughout the 2 weeks learning the game, whenever I was in casual matchmaking, I would always fight this Blanca. And let me tell you about this hairy green freak show with gross teeth. His main thing is that he rolls up into a ball and drives straight into you. The garbage part about this though is that after it hits you while you're blocking, he bounces away. So not only can he start the move out of my attacking range, but if it's blocked, he gets right back out of my attacking range, so I don't even know how to punish it. He also has a command grab where he leaps at you almost like he's doing his other attacks. He also just has some other stuff and variations to his specials that's also a pain to deal with, but I'm so over it already. I have played 14 casual matches against this one Blanca, and guess how many times I won? Once. And boy, I was not happy to see his ugly face when I was playing ranked. This was a different Blanca player, but the same Blanca garbage. I lost, of course, but not only that, I match made against him 4 separate times. Are you kidding me? Fighting my absolute worst matchup this many times and in ranked? Why is he literally the character I fought against the second most times in the entire game? And to think that was only 2 players. I had to fight that Cammy again too. That little nightmare. It wasn't all bad though. I fought a Ryu, couple Kages, an Alex, and Akira. I beat that same Chun-Li. And there was a Ken who would just run and grab me half the time or spam his stupid Shoryuken or Tatsumaki Senpyukaku. It was back and forth for all those matches. My rank wasn't really changing after this point, and I was still a ways away from gold, and I was just mentally exhausted after playing that many matches, especially against those matchups, and I figured just to call it a day before I started losing even more. I ended up in Ultra Silver, which put me in about the top 25% of ranked players. Even though the 2 weeks ended with a couple of hellish matchups, when I step back to think that this is my first fighting game and I did even that good in 2 weeks, it's fine. If I wanted to get better, I could just spend more time later, and I just wasn't ready to handle those matchups at the moment, but I could learn them in the future. There is still absolutely a lot of room to improve, but that was a pretty decent start. Well, I think that just about wraps it up. Thank you so much for watching. I plan on starting another video just like this one for a different game really soon. I know this video was a little rough and it took a while, but hopefully with better planning, it'll come out more smoothly next time. I was just kind of winging it on this video. I hope you enjoyed it either way, and it would be cool if you come by to see the next one too. Bye!